Mate, no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea should be top of the Premier League right now. We should have beaten Brentford away in the Premier League this evening, but no, they got a last gasp equaliser in the 93rd minute from Fabio Carvalho. Chelsea got a couple of really high quality goals from probably probably their two best players in Caicedo and Cole Palmer. Let's be real about that. But it wasn't enough, and Enzo Maresca got it wrong early doors. Our left-hand side was nothing short of shambolic, and there was a complete and mega shock with Facundo Buonanotte starting this game. And I've been saying it on social media, and indeed, I think I've been saying it here on the YouTube channel as well. For me, this game could have been seen as more important than Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich away they've just won 5-0 at home tonight, Bayern Munich, yeah? The league phase, you play a lot of games, yeah? And all of them are worth the same amount of points. Each game is worth the same amount of points. If there was ever a free hit, it was Bayern Munich away. This you needed to make sure you win at all costs. Points in the Premier League are so important. Even if you're not aiming to win the Premier League, we would have, of course, gone top with a win. We need to be aiming, of course, for a top 4 finish. And that is so hard to do. You need to win as many games as you can. And you need to win against Brentford. Guys, we have 1 win in 8 games against Brentford. If that stat alone going up into this game was not enough to shut up Maresca, and he took a risk, he gambled, he rotated loads, and we're going to get into it today. So welcome back to Football Therapy, guys. Very glad to have you here. Please do consider supporting my content here on the YouTube, simply by liking and subscribing and commenting and sharing and all that good stuff that helps out my channel here. I do appreciate it. But we are going to talk about a very frustrating 2 points dropped, I'd say, in the Premier League. Now, leading up to this game, Brentford had 2 wins and 2 losses, I believe, in the 4 games, including the cup game so far this season. They've, of course, been decimated. They've lost Norgard, they've lost Mbermo, they've lost Visser, and they've lost their manager. But I had been saying... Yeah, obviously they've brought in Thiago, and they brought in Ouattara, who's a really good player as well. But I have been saying Kevin Schade, because he was scoring hat-tricks at the end of last season, you know? There was a point where he was the form forward on FPL over the likes of Mbermo and Visser. It's not like they had no one left, and they scored in a way they were going to score, and of course Carvalho off the bench. But look, let's have a look here. So this is what Maresca did. He took a risk, and let's be honest, this is completely because of Bayern Munich in the midweek. And this whole left-hand side is stinky AF in terms of performance. Okay, so Facundo Buonanotte, the loanee from Brighton, yeah? He comes in and he plays as the number 10. I sort of slightly, well, it looks like, is that right pocket or is that number 10? There's more touches on the left if you include, sorry, you can't see. If you include the deeper touches, it's more left-hand side there. Yorel Hatto, left-hand side there. Jamie Gittins, left-hand side there. For that entire first half, and indeed the 60 minutes before he made changes, the left-hand flank was absolutely terrible. I must say, with Gittins, it blows my mind how this guy, and he's very young, let's not judge him, let's give him time, but he's got over 100 appearances in a top 5 European league, including Champions League football, and he looks so undercooked and ill-prepared, whereas an 18-year-old, very slight and thin, diminutive, small Brazilian teenager comes from Brazil, never played in Europe. Yeah, he hasn't got 100 appearances in a top 5 European league. Comes in and looks like he fits in immediately way better. It's not a good look on Jamie Gittins. I'm not giving up on Jamie Gittins. I've heard lots of profiling on him before we signed. Seb Stafford-Bloor, the Athletic Bundesliga correspondent guy, he's like, yeah, this guy's really exciting. He looks a bit raw though. Heck yeah, raw, bro. And yeah, all pretty stinky, man. Like, I know Joao Pedro got an assist in the end. I kind of don't want to dig him out here, Joao Pedro, because I actually think, he played badly because of what was around him. If you look at that entire starting front four, the only really working vibes was Pedro Neto, and he was just going 1v1 against, was it Lewis Potter or other centre-backs as well? Of course, they played a back 5-3-2, Brentford, as they're inclined to do. Play a lot of long throws, corners, set pieces, plays. Of course, their current manager, Keith Andrews, was the set piece coach before Thomas Frank left. So he's all about long throws, corners, free kicks, dead ball situations, and indeed counter-attacks. And they all pay dividends here. That's how they beat Chelsea. They do deserve credit. They set up very, very well indeed. Kelleher was good in goal. Sanchez was good in goal, despite us conceding 2 goals. The Kevin Schade on transition, I don't really blame Sanchez. It was Garnacho lost his man, Carvalho at the back post for the late equalizer. But this is how he set up. So it was it was nice to see Fofana back. I don't think he was very culpable for anything particularly wrong. He's a bit risky. He played as the right centre-back, which means Tosin plays centrally, as you can see there. And of course, Trevoh ended up playing the left centre-back role. He did move over a little bit. And Hato played as a sort of conventional left-back. Very, very poor performance from him. Got a yellow, of course, as well before being hooked. We saw Caicedo do his thing where he plays everywhere, slightly left orientated, and really right flanked from Enzo Fernandez. I do want to say at this point, Enzo Fernandez, I've been heavily critical this season, despite getting the odd goal and assist, which is great. I felt like his open play performances have been really lacking, man. And I've been highlighting it. And actually, in the first half, in what was a boring first half, I felt like he wasn't doing much wrong. He was doing a lot right. I mean, this is SofaScore that I'm using, of course. So in the starting front 6. He's obviously only second to Caicedo in terms of rating. So I actually think he did pretty well. Let's just timeline it and then we'll stats. So we start. Thiago gets booked for time wasting in the 8th minute, which I don't even know how that's possible. Hato gets booked. We sort of, not much happens, and then Henderson plays Schade in through for the counter-attacking goal, and not much else happens in the first half. It's half-time. At this point, I'm thinking, I'm really annoyed because that lineup looks really, really ineffective. It hasn't worked at all. And not only has it worked at all, we're a goal down, we're away from home, and we don't look like not only do we have to pull out the fire, we don't look like we have a clue. So look at the first half statistics in isolation, 70% of the ball, 0.36 XG, nothing really. Neither team created a big chance. We had 5 shots to their 3. They created a slightly higher XG value, which of course would be the Schade goal, I imagine. And yeah, man, like 1 shot on target each. I think it's just really, really poor. Really, really, they probably edged it in terms of the shot value, and that's just because it was a counter-attacking goal. So very, very frustrating indeed. Second half. Let's go back to the timeline here quickly. In the second half, we see some changes. He makes the 3 changes at halftime. There had to be changes. Buonanotte comes off for Tyreek George. Reece James comes on for Wesley Fofana, and Cucurella comes on for Hato. Now at this point, he's brought on. So for the moment, Tyreek George comes on for Buonanotte, which basically means Tyreek George plays as a striker. I hate it. I don't endorse it. Maresca keeps doing it, but it means Joao Pedro moves into the number 10 where Buonanotte was playing before. So now Ty's playing as a striker. I think it's literally because he's tall. I just can't think of another reason. He's a great player, Ty. He's got big potential. He's very young, but I don't know where Mark Yu is. By the way, I guess it's like he's unavailable. But what he does is, so he's brought in conventional big boy, world-class fullbacks now, and Reece James and Cucurella, but he plays neither of them at fullback, and I'm totally fine with that. He plays Reece James literally in midfield, like central defensive midfield, and he plays Marc Cucurella as a sort of advanced left pocket player, which, we hated seeing Gusto do that on the right-hand side, but Cucurella can do it on the left and score many goals from that position last season. And Reece really started dictating play, and they were just absolutely... We were starting to really have a robust midfield with Reece James next to Moises Caicedo. Reece James was doing loads of passing, and also got Fernandes closer to goal, and he's been good closer to goal in the last 12 months. So I endorse those changes. We didn't need flying wing backs. It was pointless considering what we were coming up against. We needed that dominance in the midfield of the pot. So I really like the changes from Maresca. I hate the risk that he took with the initial rotation. I don't think it was arrogance or anything like that. I think he just took a gamble, and it really, really failed. Of course, he brings on Cole Palmer in the 56th minute, and João Pedro flicks a ball to him, and Cole Palmer finishes beautifully on the inside of his boot, nestles it in the corner, world class. And Palmer looks freaking different gravy granules comparatively to all the other players. He looks like, from scoring 5-1 against, granted, a poor West Ham without Cole Palmer, I'm thinking, we're not Cole Palmer FC. I tell you what, mate, this game made us look like we've reverted back to Cole Palmer FC. And yeah, very, very frustrating. So at this point, that's 61 minutes, yeah, and we're thinking, right, we're going to win. I'm thinking we're going to win. 61 minutes, half an hour to go. Brentford are going to be tired. We've got players off the bench. We're really good. They're not as good. Ouattara comes on. Rico Henry comes on. Good players, both of them. And then João Pedro comes off for Alejandro Garnacho. Chelsea fan, and we're thinking, the Chelsea fans are already singing Viva Garnacho. It does feel like it's his name could be up in lights here. A winner off the bench for Chelsea. Maresca himself had said, like, he's not fit. He's not match fit, Garnacho. But it does feel like he could. And he nearly kind of gets the assist for what we thought was the winner. And of course, that is the absolute world-class Golazzo from Caicedo. He's not, his job's not to score these goals, but he scores like 1 or 2 world-class goals every season. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one of them. He sort of benefits from a Garnacho cutback that does meet a Brentford player in between. That's why it's not a Garnacho assist, but he certainly created the chance. Caicedo just hits an absolute worldie. He takes a second. He doesn't like volley it. He doesn't hit it first time. He meets the ball, he takes a second, he sturdies himself and shoots an absolute Fonda C word. And that's the 85th minute. I think we're going to win 3-1 at this point, but we don't. There is a sort of set piece goal, is it? Carvalho at the back post, like I say, Garnett gets away from Garnacho. There is other chances, and it ends 2-2. There is other chances. There's a chance where Cole Palmer runs into a cutback. It goes through João Pedro. It would have been Cole Palmer's second, and he shoots it straight at Kelleher. Kelleher is a good goalkeeper, man, and he is annoying. He's just freaking always stitching Chelsea up, I swear. He's always stitching Chelsea up. Let's look at the statistics in the second half, right? So in the second half, Chelsea didn't actually create a big chance. There was only one big chance, and that was the home team, Brentford. They had a higher XG than Chelsea, but we did score 2 goals. That just shows you how good the finishing was from both Caicedo and Palmer, that we scored 2 goals of 0.76 expected goals. That's nearly 3 times whatever it is, 2 point something amount more. Basically, much better finishing with more of the ball, as you'd expect. But they get that goal. I don't think it's a travesty. I think they were set up well. I think it was literally that. Do you know what it was? It was the setup that killed us at the beginning, because it gave us too much work to do. We brought on the quality. The quality pulled us out the fire. 2 goals, and it wasn't just the Caicedo and Cole Palmer class. It was bringing on Reece James. I think he had a massive effect as well, personally, and off the bench in terms of how he dictated play. Cole Palmer's immense quality, but with the better players on the pitch, the better players that started look better. Caicedo looks better when Reece James is on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Caicedo looks better when Cucurella is on his left-hand side rather than Uriel Hato. Now, let's not all just dig out 3 very young players in Buonanotte, Gittins and Hato, who were probably our worst performers on the day, I'd say comfortably, because they're all brand new Chelsea youngsters. It was a mistake from Maresca. He sort of half remedied it. That's hard for me to say for some reason. With his changes, but it was sort of too little, too late. A point doesn't really do much. I mean, we're undefeated still. For whatever that means in the Premier League. But it represents a very frustrating result because we should be top of the Premier League right now. And now, you've played players that you're probably hoping to rest because you wanted to go and beat Bayern Munich midweek. So what happens now if you go and get slapped by Bayern Munich and the vibes aren't good? Of course, what Bayern Munich does do now is offer an opportunity. If you go to Bavaria and win, then people start talking positively about Chelsea again, maybe in the Champions League context as well. But in this game in isolation, it's very, very frustrating indeed. So, yep, there it is. Leave up to you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Spirited comeback, but, I mean, it's just one of those moments. It's kind of just one of those moments. We showed we've got character. It was a set-piece goal that got the equalizer, and it was a bad setup. If you've got any more intel, write it down, your opinions in the comment section. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for dropping a like on this video. Thank you for subscribing to Football Therapy. We're nearing 200,000 subs, so I'd love for you to join the fun. And there's going to be, developing and evolving content for many months and years to come. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you soon. Peace.